Good afternoon, guys. How are you all doing? Welcome back to Historical Horses. I hope you're having a lovely Sunday. Just thinking as I started this video, I really need to make more effort in what I wear for them because I'm in my kind of weekend rough clothes because, I spend most of the time outside. Got the headband on as normal because my hair looks like a bog brush because it has been quite windy here the last few days. And all in all, I look like a right state. I need to put more effort in to wearing something a little bit tidier. But anyway, people will be used to it in the videos by now. I always look like a scruff bag. Today, I'm talking about the history of Shetland ponies. And weirdly, having been in the equestrian industry for 20 years, I haven't come across that many Shetland ponies. And I teach, I groom for people, I do all sorts. I train horses, but I've not come across that many Shetland ponies. There's one pony somewhere where I ride the horse and its companion is a Shetland pony. And I have to say that little pony is gorgeous, got so much mane. But other than that, I don't. May have come across a few sort of crossbreeds, but that would be about it. Not really come across any purebred Shetland ponies. So I was quite excited to learn more about them, and there is quite a history to them. So hope you're settled in for the afternoon. Maybe you've got a nice cup of tea, maybe a piece of cake or something, and I'm going to tell you a little bit more about Shetland ponies. These plucky, hardy, strong, do you know that they can actually pull twice their own weight, which is remarkable, especially when a draft horse can haul only half its body weight. But these cheeky, gorgeous little ponies have been living in Shetland for over 4,000 years. Shetlands must be no taller than 42 inches and they're a minimum of 28 inches. And they are the smallest of the British pony breeds. Natural selection has helped make the Shetland pony the tough and hardy pony that it is to this day. They grow this amazing thick winter coat, which they need to survive to deal with the harsh winter conditions that Shetland can throw at them. It's thought that Shetland ponies have been around since the end of the last ice age and that they trekked over iced fields to reach Shetland. It's believed that Shetland ponies originate from a cob-type tundra cross mountain-type pony from southern Europe. These ponies would have been around when woolly mammoths were still roaming and have evolved on Shetland to become the ponies we know today. These ponies have worked so hard over the centuries. Nowadays, they are used for pleasure, whether that is driving, pony racing, showing, pony club fun with young children. They can do all sorts. They're a very versatile little pony. In the past, Shetland ponies have been vital to crofters. The ponies would be used as transport for carrying heavy items. They would have woven baskets and would carry peat, which was a vital source of fuel for fires and ovens. They would be used for carrying muck from out of the byre after winter, or collecting seaweed that could be then spread on the potato crop. The crofters would also ride their Shetlands. And did you know that Shetlands commonly carried 130 to 140 pounds in their loads, which is a hefty amount? Just didn't have much money, so couldn't always afford to feed their Shetland. It was also hard to get hold of good quality fodder, so they would mark their Shetland and let them loose to run semi-wild on the common. When they needed them to work again, they would head out and catch them. I feel like this might have been quite a tricky task at times. In the 17th century, laws were actually put in place to protect the Shetland ponies because their tail, because the hair was so incredibly strong, it was very useful and used for fishing wire and like little bird snares. And so people would go around and literally chop the Shetland ponies' tails to try and get this hair. So it was a crime if you were caught cutting a Shetland pony's tail. The Shetland pony's tail was also used on the Shetland fiddle and used for the bow so you could play it. So, their tails were very useful. But obviously, the ponies also needed their tails, especially when it came to winter. So that's why it was a crime if you were cutting the Shetland's tail. So if you were a fisherman and you had a Shetland pony, you had to very carefully take just, a little bit of their tail. I think if you owned the pony, you would be okay. But if you were a criminal seen trying to chop a pony's tail, then that wasn't okay. It was also a crime to ride another man's Shetland pony without permission. So no stealing or borrowing for a joyride. From the 1600s to the late 1800s, fishermen used to ride Shetland ponies on the doctor's recommendation. Dutch fishermen who had fished the shoals of herring around Shetland from the end of June to the middle of September would be advised by the doctor they travelled with to get some exercise off the boat. and a favourite way to follow the doctor's orders was to hire a Shetland pony and go for a ride. Now, they would hire them from a local crofter who actually needed the money, so this worked out quite well for them. And often, at the end of a herring season, the Dutch fishermen would actually take a couple of ponies back with them. Those poor ponies heading back to the Netherlands on those boats, can you imagine how rocky that would be? But this was the start of exporting Shetland ponies. Of course, the Shetland pony was also used in the mining industry, pulling the tubs through the narrow mine shafts. Being so sure-footed, strong but small made them ideal. When the Act came in that prohibited women and children in 1842 from working down in the pits, there was a sudden surge and demand for more Shetland ponies. They were still used up until the 1960s. It's thought that the Shetland pony has a sixth sense, and this really came into play when they were working down in the pits. And miners believed this too, because often the ponies would sense when something bad was going to happen, and they sort of start to become a little bit anxious. And the miners really took note of this. And no doubt this probably saved their lives at some times, whether this was, the shafts falling in or whatever it might have been, but the ponies often could sense something was about to happen. The royal family are no strangers to Shetland ponies. The late Queen has been gifted Shetland ponies. In fact, her very first pony was a Shetland called Peggy. And also, when doing a little bit of research, many photos came up of the late Queen's grandchildren riding Shetland ponies. So they've been a very common thing in the royal household, and even Queen Victoria had Shetland ponies. The first stud book for Shetlands was published in 1891 and recorded the details of 408 mares, many with foals, and 48 stallions. And some fun facts to finish. The first Shetland to be shipped to the USA was in 1885, and the breed really took off over there after that and became incredibly popular. Shetland ponies can be any colour bar spotty. So if you come across a spotty Shetland pony, it's going to be a crossbreed. No place on Shetland is further than 4 miles from the sea, and in tough winters it's believed that when the Shetland ponies are looking for food, they will forage the shores for seaweed. So every year in October, in Lerwick, hope I'm saying that right, in Shetland, there is a Shetland pony sales, and last year the top selling Shetland pony was a piebald stallion that sold for 4,300 guineas. Now, don't quote me on this, but supposedly there are 1,000 Shetlands on Shetland with 170 owners. Anyway, thank you for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed that video. As I often say at the end of these videos, when I've researched something, I'm like, oh, I'd really like one. So now I'm like, oh, I'd quite like a Shetland. I think it would freak my horses out no end. It really would. I don't know that they would cope with a cheeky little Shetland running around. But what amazing little ponies they are. The fact they can pull twice their body weight is insane, especially when you compared it, like I said, to like draft horses who can only pull half their body weight. And the fact that, having lived on Shetland for so many years, it's kind of moulded them to be these incredibly hardy, tough little ponies. And you know what, sometimes, every now and then, you'll see them at like a horse or pony show. And we know Shetlands can be a little cheeky monkeys when they want to be. And you'll see like some full-grown man being literally towed across the showground by a little Shetland pony. I mean, full of character, aren't they? But definitely going to sort of take more notice of the one at work now. When I next go in, I'm going to really look, sort of bob down at him and just have a look. Because they're so beautiful and their faces have got so much character. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed that video, guys. Leave a comment below if you've got a Shetland pony or have any experience of having had Shetland ponies. I'd love to hear from you.